honor on this occasion His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Isle, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, here ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties, Security and Public Matters, Honorable Timothy Kaswa, Chairman of this occasion, Major General A.T. Umar, retired, the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Lafia, Professor Shimu Abdurrahman, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Ali Shashugaba, Principal Officers of the University, the Royal Father of this event, the guest lecturer, the Director of Center for Security Studies, Federal University of Lafia, Directors and Deans of Federal University of Lafia here present, Heads of Security Agencies, staff of the University who are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the first public lecture organized by the Center for Security Studies of the Federal University of Lafia. The Center for Security Studies is one of the academic centers established by the current administration of Professor Shehu Abdurrahman to enhance collaboration, research, and development of the university. Today's event will also mark the formal inauguration of the center in the university. My name is Pauline Osaucha from the Directorate of Information and Public Relations of the university. May I request that we use a few seconds and pray silently according to our different faiths for the success of this important event. May the Almighty God answer our prayers. Your Excellency, distinguished members of the High Table, permit me to properly introduce our guests at the High Table and other invited guests on this occasion. And it is first my honor state Ambassador Timothy Kaswa. We'd like to also welcome the chairman of this occasion, a retired Director of Military Intelligence, Major General Asgabu Umar, retired. Of course, Your Excellency, this event would have been possible without the approval of the Vice Chancellor of the University, and the Vice Chancellor is here this morning. Please can we put our hands together to welcome Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, who is heavily represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Ali Shashugaba. We'd like to also welcome the guest lecturer, Chris Waja, PhD, LSPSP, Director of Center for Peace and Security Studies, Modibo Adama University, UNA. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Partnership of the University, Professor Samela Usman. We have also seated on the high table the Director of DSS in Nasarawa State, Alhaji Musa Mohammed. The Registrar of the University is also here seated, Manda Nuruddin Abdu. We welcome you to this event. And let us acknowledge the presence of the Director, Center for Security Studies of the University of Lafia, Professor George. We acknowledge the presence of the deans and directors of our university that are here. We have the Dean Faculty of Environmental Design, Professor Bezlado is here. We have the Dean Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, Professor Dunay is here. We welcome the Dean Faculty of Medical Sciences, Dr. Ahmed Mohamed Rabiu. Welcome the Director of Creative Research and Creative Thought of the University, Professor Sarajuddin Adedayo. We welcome the Director of Linkages and Advancement, Dr. Mohammad Kabir. We have very senior professors who are here. Commander of 4 Special Forces Command Doma. We have IA Dada, Representative Controller of Inauguration National State. We have the Commandant, Command Science Secondary School, Lafia, A. Bello, Lieutenant Colonel A. Bello, represented by Captain U.S.A., the admin officer. Welcome, sir. We welcome Mohammed Abdullahi Isa from Planning Lafia. Okay, sorry, FCG, Planning Lafia. Welcome, sir. We welcome every one of you who have come for this event. Time will not permit us to acknowledge every one of you individually, but we say a very big welcome to you. Your Excellency, with your permission, I would like to invite for the welcome remarks the Director, Center for Security Studies of the Federal University of Lafia, Professor George King.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of National State, the Chairman of Education, the Vice Chancellor, Principal Officers of the University, the guest lecturer, heads of security agencies, deans and directors, distinguished professors of our university, heads of department, staff and students of our dear university, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am more than delighted to welcome you to this historic event today, being the official inauguration of the Center for Security Studies here at the Federal University of Lafia. This center was established in December 2022, following the University Senate's approval to put in place an academic unit to lead and coordinate studies in security-related issues here in North Central Nigeria. This became necessary given the plethora of security concerns accentuated by the deadly farmer-header conflicts in the region in nearly over a decade. This conflict has not only simmered for years due to a variety of factors, but most importantly, the way in which state authorities responded to it. In addition to the farmer-header conflicts and related security issues, such as kidnapping, abductions, armed robberies, cattle rustling, and rural banditry. These security concerns and related others have had severe implications on intergroup relations in the region and beyond. Livelihoods, Nigeria. The North Central region is strategic in Nigeria by its very location, linking the north and the south of the country. It is also strategic because it is host to Benue Valley, of enormous, rich, cultivable land, supporting a variety of agricultural practices and employing millions of its inhabitants. With one of the largest rivers in Nigeria, the River Benue, and its tributaries, there is an assurance of water supply nearly all year round for use for commercial and domestic purposes. The region is also mineral rich, including in hydrocarbons. It therefore inevitably attracts many groups, thus becoming a complex mosaic of ethnically and religiously diverse peoples. The the conflicts that the region has hosted, and the insecurities arising from them, undergirded by its dense population, no doubt require close studies, and this is why the center was established. The center is therefore fully engaged in offering full and part-time study opportunities in security issues and at academic and professional levels. It is also engaged in other short-term training and consultancy services in partnership with security agencies, other governmental institutions, and non-governmental bodies in deepening understanding of security issues and practice to provide policy support, data, and knowledge that will facilitate meaningful and enduring interventions for stable and sustainable development of the region and indeed Nigeria. We at the center and the university are delighted to share with you in the knowledge of our being and invite you to a workable partnership in understanding and dealing with the insecurities around us. We thank the Vice Chancellor and management together with Senate for providing the leadership in this direction. We are extremely grateful for the Vice Chancellor's continued support to the center, and we wish to assure him of our commitment to the pursuit of the objectives for which the center was established. I'd like to thank the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Partnership, my immediate boss, for his available guidance and constant and unfailing support. We are very grateful to the guest lecturer who has honored the invitation of the Vice Chancellor to deliver this public lecture. I would like to request you to, in a very special way, appreciate this guest lecturer, because 3 weeks ago I was afraid he won't make it, because on his way to Geneva he was driving from Jos to Abuja, and then traveling to Geneva he had an accident. One of his tires got off, and only God has made it possible for him to be here. Please, a round of applause to God. Your selection, Mr. Guest Lecturer, was purely based on your accumulated expertise. We are also very thankful to all of you, the university management, heads of security agencies in Nasarawa State, distinguished guests, staff, and our diligent students here at the Federal University of Lafia. My very good friends among all of you for honoring the invitation to be here. Once again, thank you, and God bless you all.
By the Director Center for Security Studies of the University, Professor George. I hope that once again, please for the presence of Anas Mohammed, Rosie Paul, Rini Majunga, Abigail Bob. We welcome you. We would like to also acknowledge the presence of the University Librarian, Professor Abebe Yoro, who is here ably represented by Dr. Akamidu Olamide Johnson. And once again, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the legislature. The legislature is behind, so I continue to acknowledge him. Thank you very much, sir, for the invitation. Your Excellency, I would like to invite for the opening remarks the Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Lafia, Professor here ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Ali Ishaq Shuka.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, ably presented by my dear brother, Ambassador Ota, the Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Partnership, the Registrar of the University, the Chairman of the occasion, whom I will say something brief, something in a moment about him, the guest lecturer also, who will also say something about him, and my unicorn special friend for having disappointed me and my other political friend, the Alhaji. He refused to stand up for you to organize him, we understand. The registrar, the university librarian, director of Center for Peace Studies, deans and directors here present, heads of department, my colleagues, professors, my personal secretary, other senior and junior staff of the university, our special guests that accompanied my younger brother, especially Dr. Rimini, who I've not seen for a long time, my dear students. I must first and foremost send the apology of my boss, who has been wanting to be present when this special center will be inaugurated. Unfortunately, he has to be outside the country for now, and he's with us. Before we left the office and the PS, he said we must make sure we do not only attend, but we should maintain the punctuality of this administration. That is why, together with the principal officers of this university, we were here 5 minutes before time. But we were beaten to the task by the director of peace. Somehow, I don't know how he did it, to have gathered this array of very important, busy, and special people to even come before me. The director of peace, you have done wonderfully well. One, for being able to snatch away the person that is always with our governor to be here this morning. And then most importantly, my two brothers, an elder brother and a younger brother. A younger brother in the 60s, he was my senior in the primary school in Nasarawa. When I was in primary 1, he was about leaving primary 4 to primary 5. And as a young medical student with my first wife, when he was a young captain in the Army Depot in Zaria, whenever we had office in school, we usually come to his house and his very young wife there to rest, eat, and go back to school. Thank you so much, sir, for being. I'm quite sure you must have forgotten this, but we shall never forget it. When we used to drop at East Zaria, then we trek to the depot and go to your house. The guest lecturer, yes, my younger brother. Not only my younger brother, another fantastic friend of me, my family, especially my late wife, and my boys, including Dr. Ahmed. He has been wonderful, both as a colleague in the University of Jos and as a colleague in Jos. He's one detribalized, de-ethnized, de-religious Nigerians I've ever met in my life. Very intelligent. In fact, if I had known I was going to come to Lafia earlier, I would have blocked him from going to Yola. Because if the VC was here, by the time the late Professor Amin gave a lecture and was talking and recommending that this university should set up a center for military studies, I remember that after that evening, I went straight to the VC and said, no, Federal University of Lafia where dreams come true, Federal University of Lafia where everybody wants to come, should not just be establishing a center for military studies. We are more than that. Because this is a university, this is a global body, In fact, I mentioned it to him then that I have somebody, if he was going to establish a center for security studies, somebody that has worked so much in this area, presented papers locally, nationally, and internationally, and he's still presenting papers. I'm going to several fora of UN, hunger, and so on and so forth. I mentioned his name. Little then did I know that they are also friends with another new friend that I happened to make my very first few weeks in the university, Dr. George Gay. I've met him, met an equally proactive individual, very, very, very detribalized like my younger brother. So by the time the DC was presenting the proposal of the establishment of this center among other important centers and directorates, he had him in mind, and I said, thank God, the person I was thinking of calling to come here is already engaged in Yola. But most of the time he's not in Yola, like you heard what the director said. He's either on the road or in the air, trying to do the things he knows how to do best. Talking about security, talking about peace, talking about one world, and so on and so forth. I'm quite sure the taste of the bandelea is in the eating. The other thing to bear in mind is that because of the situation of the Federal University Lafia in the geography of Nigeria, where we have a lot of people wanting to come to either work or school here from the northern part of Lafia and southern part of Nasarawa State, we had then deemed it necessary that this center will not have any connotation, either center for North Central Study or Middle Study. It should be a center that should be answerable and in outlook to the whole world. And that is why the recommendation of late Professor Aminu Zeni to establish Center for Middle Studies or North Central Studies were petitioned. It is also worth to let, especially our heads of security agencies, that this center is very dear to the Vice Chancellor because he is a very peaceful human being and is a serious advocate of coexistence, not only with human beings, but with the flora and fauna wherever he finds himself. And I hope by the end of this inauguration, you will find us very worthy in some of those thematic issues that you want to be addressed, both academically and at stopgap situations like the way we're having it today. I assure you will always find people like my two brothers, the general who was the one-time director of military intelligence, the lecturer who has been working, should become a professor of security studies. I wish before then we should be able to clock you. George Geni, I think should continue the work and bring him here also, more so that we are going to have an academic environment. Your Excellency, you know peace and security are global issues. That is why we said we will be the flagship of these two things in Nigeria. And by extension, by the time we come among the best 5 universities, not only in Africa but in the world, we will be known for promoting peaceful coexistence and security of everything. That's why we feel so sad in what is happening now. But like I was saying this 4 days ago, the issues we're having now are global issues, they're national issues. And we know that His Excellency is an excellent partner in this issue. He's very concerned. That's why each time we go, we call on him, he's ready to listen to us and to provide the necessary logistics that will help us secure the environment for both our students and staff to coexist and do what the universities are best known to do, giving, teaching, and doing our community services. Please extend our warm wishes and more concerns with what is happening around our university. He should not get tired with us, and should continue to do what he's doing and do more for us. To my friend without name, we appreciate what you are doing, and we hope he will continue to remember us, to be with us, and to continuously advise His Excellency in looking after this university. On this note, I, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, wish to declare this inauguration open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that opening remarks and the declaration of the inauguration of. We appreciate you, sir. Your Excellency, permit me again to acknowledge the presence of the Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nasarawa State, Commandant A.B. Mohammed, who is here ably represented by the Deputy Commandant, Farnins Nantu. We appreciate your presence, sir. Welcome. Your Excellency, the chairman of this occasion is a former director of military intelligence, and there is no better person who would have chaired this occasion at this time than him. Let's welcome Major General Asgar Kumoto San Umar, retired, for his remarks.
Over this city. First and foremost, I want to have a mix. I understood that when Professor Lumumba was here to give a lecture, he did say that it was only in Nigeria. He said all protocols are duly I want to acknowledge the guest lecturer. I want to acknowledge the state director of the state service. I want to acknowledge one of my own. I know he knows me, but he knows I don't know him. General Ahmed, I suppose, and all other security, the immigration, custom is not here, so we don't have any quarrel of who to call first. The immigration is here, civil defense is here, command secondary school is here, and so many other security agencies represented here. To the academia, all the professors that are here, I want to respect your presence. You are alive. And for you to remain alive, even if you eat, is to be protected. And for us to understand that the threats at the individual, group, community, and national levels, at the global level, down to regional, sub-regional, at national level is becoming more and more and more challenging. So, what is it said to do? Societies have found it very necessary at the individual levels to ensure that they put measures in place to protect those individuals, to protect their assets, and to protect their environment, their territories, and all that. I want to sincerely say that in our country today, we are challenged in all the geographical zones, starting from South-South, where we have industrial theft of our most cherished resource, coming to the Southeast, where we have secessionist threats to get out of this country, and they do it violently. And I know this state had been incidentally victims at different stages of the attacks in those places. They don't only subvert the national sovereignty, but they subvert individual lives. Coming to perhaps let me progress to North Central, where I come from, every citizen. How do we achieve that? I think because I'm not going to give a lecture, this institute is the first leg of those measures. You must be trained. You must be aware of the threats. You must be aware of the measures that are put in place. You must be aware that you don't need to go out at this hour. You must be aware that where you visit, if it is not absolutely necessary, you don't need to. You must be aware of so many things. At this point, I want to state that the VC, and usually when you go, you call the highest person. And this my younger brother that I met when I came here, have done well to put in place this center to ensure that not only you, the staff or students particularly that come to study here benefit, but when they get that knowledge, humanity has benefited. I want to say that I will be part of that training. I wouldn't mind when I come back here to be a student. I want to conclude this talk this way. Shugaba said something about me, and he said it very, very well. Not the second part. I forgot the second part. But the first part, yes. And you cannot forget Professor Shugaba because, well, some of us were never called out amongst the first three that will receive exercise books, ruler, or this thing. But we noticed, I noticed, I can't speak for others, that each time the year ended in December, that time in December, not be September, Shugaba will be called out to receive his exercise book, ruler, pencil, paper. Again, when I was in NDA, he said Shugaba was his bag. And he just discovered that actually he grew up from Lafia here. He just discovered that I knew Professor Shugaba. At that time, a student of medical school in he said, you know this child? Then he started telling me stories about they did government colleges together, they blah, 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 blah. I said, no, Oga, he was my immediate senior. I said, Oga, don't just wait there, senior, but don't just wait there. I went to the same school with him. I have more to tell you about that child. I want to thank the institution for finding it very, very, I would say necessary, to finding me fit to stand and talk to you as a person that have probably held positions and have had experiences that you think will add value to this talk. I want to thank everybody for listening to me. Thank you, and God bless.
Hey, who gave you the effrontery to sing this song? Don't you know that this song has been banned by the federal government of Nigeria?
Excuse me, sir. You should try more to calm down. And let's forget English. Let's do it the federal way. Sir, everybody knows that democracy now for the people, by the people, and on the people. But for this, we uphold Nigeria. Now for some people, by some people, and to some people. Excuse me. You will not give money when you buy ammunition for us. You buy them. What are you? Security. Now, guys, you will come back and they talk to you. You will talk. Not be you. They say maybe they protect us Nigerians. But you they close by 6 p.m. because of security reasons, Abi. They see they pay you. Then they give you bribery and corruption so that you will protect people politicians. What will you be?
Oga for TV and radio. Say na minor issue and they bring am back 24 hours, 247. They see like no sound of generator, even one noise.
Wait. Even me, I dream say convoy dey follow come.
Do you know that all these things that you are dreaming of is going to come to reality if all of us put our heads together and work towards the progress of this nation? We know that security is not only left to the government. We have our own part to play. If you see something, say something. You hear something, say something. And they all say that change begins with me, you, and you.
Thank you, please. A round of applause for them. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, that was a part we wanted you to stay at.
Yes, I thank you so much for the invitation and for this rare opportunity to say something. Just a word. Universities are but person of knowledge. And you not only come here to study agriculture, sociology, or political science. You are here to open your exceptional horizon. And you only do that when you pass through the university and allow the university to pass through you. Until and unless the university pass through you. Otherwise, you may likely go back home worse than how you come here. I want to remind every one of us that a country is not developed by a single generation. You only come, contribute, leave, another generation will come and continue from where you stop. I recall vividly when we were in the universities, there was no GSM. If you leave home, you will leave home for 3 months. Nobody knows except if you use the postal services. But now you bring your parents every minute, every day. And every 5 months is full of challenges. Ask very many of us here who are our seniors, how do they grow to this level? So many challenges. This drama was very fantastic. It has displayed so many discrepancies. But who will change it? Who brought them? And who are going to take care of them? We that brought them. It's we that will change. You can't change them overnight, and you can't change them at all. That is why we at the security panels prepare your cooperation 24/7. Let us know what is happening around you. But unfortunately, most of us, because of certain sentimentalism, refuse to share with us. And that is why we are sometimes inactive, because we don't know. We are not actually soothsayers. I can't see you when you are in the comfort of your room. I can't see you when you are somewhere in, but somebody close to you will see you. Please tell us so that we can be able to help you. But we don't know, we can't help you. That is why you come to university, because you don't know. And by the time you leave university, you should know more than what you require to know. I appreciate this gesture. I call on the university to continue with this center. It's very important. There were so many occasions that I refused to personally come. But this one, I told when he was in my office, that I would personally do this occasion. Because of the love I have and the prosperity I discovered this document in and the university development. It's a center where all of us will give our own contribution. Anytime you feel that you need me, and I will make sure all my staff will partake and development. I would have loved to wait for the guest lecturer to speak so that I should learn, but I believe society and modernity has got for I'll be in my office and I'll be watching you talking. That is the modern thing. And thank you so much for your opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please, can we appreciate it has been extended to him that he has not attended personally or sent a representative. And at this event this morning, His Excellency has sent the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties, Security and Public Matters, Ambassador Timothy Kaswa, to be here with us. And at this point, to invite His Excellency for his remarks.
The Vice Chancellor of this university, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Professor Kumar, Deputy Vice Chancellors present here, the Chairman of this occasion, the Registrar of this university, professors in this university, a visiting guest speaker, Secretary Personnel represented here, Director of State, Secretary Service, in Nasarawa State, distinguished guests, students, ladies and gentlemen, let me sincerely thank you for this occasion, the formal inauguration of the Director, Center for Security Studies in this university. His Excellency, the Governor would have loved to be here personally, but he asked me to represent him because there are other pressing engagements somewhere where he has committed himself. And that's why we asked him to apologize. But that his heart is with this university. Let me just say one or two things here to assure you that His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, is doing everything possible to ensure there is peace and security, not just this university, but the entire Nasarawa State. Most of you will recall what used to happen in this day before the governor took over in 2019. He has restored peace, he has restored security in many places, and I want to assure you that he did everything possible to ensure there is security in this university. You will recall that there was a time 6 students were kidnapped in this university. The governor came here in person and met with the administration of this university, the management, and discussed very, very vital issues that will help this university. The governor made a commitment to ensure that peace and stability is restored to this university. He made a commitment and he's going to complete the student hostel that was initiated by the administration, by the former administration. Is going to complete it so that students can go through the university. A situation where you have more than 90% of their students living on campus, they are vulnerable to cyber attacks. That's why these kidnappers will come and solve other criminal tendencies. Have been visited as Excellency to do everything possible to ensure that there is security and peace in this university. Not just university, but all over the state. All of you will agree with me that kidnapping is not peculiar in the South State at all. Just as the General has rightly stated. This problem of kidnapping started from the father. As they have been reviewed by Security President, they keep on moving to this area. And they won't dig into our forest. But I'm assuring you we are chasing them out of our forests and return them back wherever they are coming from. So we need let me thank the management of this university. And I want to assure that the management of this university, the national state government, will partner with the Center for Security Studies to be able to understand some of the security challenges that are confronting this state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for that wonderful assurances that the university has received from you this morning. But want to pray for you to ensure that all those assurances come to fruition. We thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this point, His Excellency, I want to take his leave and the program continue. To read the citation of the guest
lecturer this morning, Dr. Chris Kwacha. Dr. Kwacha is currently the interim country director. Thank you. Dr. Kwacha is currently the interim country director of Nigeria of the United States Institute of Peace, as well as an associate professor of international relations and strategic studies at the Center for Peace and Security Studies, Malibu Adamawa University, Yola, Adamawa State, Nigeria. Prior to joining the CPSS, he lectured at the Center for Conflict Management and Peace Studies, University of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. He is also a visiting lecturer, a visiting research fellow with the Center for Democracy and Development, Abuja, Nigeria. He is a global fellow of the Center for Human Rights and Humanitarian Studies at the Washington Institute of International Affairs, Brown University, United States. He holds a doctorate degree in international relations and strategic studies from the Department of Political Science, University of Jos. Between 2011 and 2015, he served as Director General, Research and Planning, Governor's Office, and was the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in Plateau State. Dr. Kwacha has received several scholarly awards, which include the Council for Development of Social Science Research, Codestria Research Award on Private Military and Security Companies in Africa, 2008. The United Nations University for Peace Doctoral Research Award, 2009. The West African Research Center Research Award for 2009. Between 2017 and 2018, Dr. Kwacha worked with the Search for Common Ground Carnage Cooperation Project on farmer and herder conflicts in Nigeria as an African Research Fellow. He led the SMCG's initiative for the establishment of Forum on Farmer and Herder Relations in Nigeria, a network of academics and practitioners from government and non-government institutions working on conflict, peace, and security issues related to farmers and herders in Nigeria. In utilizing evidence-based research for multi-level policy engagement in the country, Dr. Kwacha researched and published 4 policy papers in the area of herder-farmer relations. They were put to use as key tools for advocacy at both national and international levels. In 2017, commissioned by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, he designed an implementation strategy that addressed the challenges posed by violent extremism in northern Nigeria. In recognition of these groundbreaking research and policy papers on conflict, peace, and security, Dr. Kwacha was commissioned by the Office of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to design the peace-building, governance, and rule of law pillars of the National Livestock Transformation Plan that was unanimously adopted by the National Economic Council on Thursday, 17th January 2018. In July 2020, he was appointed as a member of the Defense, Peace and Security Technical Working Group on the development of Medium-Term National Development Plan, MTNDP 2021 to 2025, and for 2026 to 2030, and the Nigerian Agenda 2050. Over the years, his services as a consultant have been sought and utilized by several institutions such as the World Bank, the United Nations Women Fund, UN Women, United Nations Development Program, UNDP, European Union, British Council, United States Agency for International Development, USAID, German International Corporation, Canadian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Institute for the Development Studies of the United Kingdom, Open Society Initiative for West Africa, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Institute for Security Studies, among others. In January 2018, the United States Institute for Peace appointed him Senior Advisor, Nigeria, with the mandate to provide strategic advice to grow UC's work in Nigeria and the Lake Chad Basin area, which consists of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. These mandates included strategy for the building and strengthening of partnership with government, security officials, civil societies, networks, civic leaders, and international non-governmental organizations, among others. His literary works and expertise on peace, African peace and security drew the attention of the United Nations Human Rights Council, who in 2018 appointed him as the African representative on the United Nations Working Group on Mercenaries. Between 2019 and 2020, he was elected the chairperson rapporteur of the working group. His experience with the United Nations has enabled him to prioritize the strategic role and importance of multilateralism and global cooperation for the goal to achieve peace and security. Within the African continent, Dr. Kwacha constructively lends his service as an active and critical voice in the academia, civil society, policy and diplomatic spaces. To his credit, he currently has 100 scholarly, technical and policy publications in reputable journals, 100 scholarly, technical and policy publications in reputable journals, books, edited books, monographs, series, technical reports, policies and security briefs, among others. His research and policy work covers topics on multilateralism in the context of global governance, the politics of identity in Africa, the privatization of security, human rights and humanitarian studies, democratization and governance, peace and conflict and peace studies, as well as security sector reform in traditional and transiting societies. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Prince Kwacha.
the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Lafia, represented by my Oga, Sugar, and the Chairman of Education, Major General Umaru. There is Hassan in the name, which we were not informed. But typical of every public presentation, the politicians will always leave. And we are left the usual culprits who are always the victims. And I think we are so used to this practice of politicians coming, giving opening remarks, declaring events open, and they look forward to our deliberations, which they don't implement. And I think for me that is what it calls an attack on democracy. Because this is one key area that we must address as a country if we want this to move forward. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, because when we place the question of democracy and security governance on the table, the question is always, always, always democracy for who? Who should spearhead the conversation on democracy? Over time, discussions on democracy have been dominated by the elites, but yet the victims of democracy are always often the very people that are on the margins of our society, and they were people we saw. Talking about the inability of democracy to deliver on those promises that were made, either during campaigns, because during campaigns, politicians know where these people live. They visit them. They go at night. They know their names. But a day after inauguration, you have to explain who you are to politicians. Sir, you don't know me. I was one of those who posted or pasted your poster during campaign. And it ends with, oh, thank you very much. You will see again. They don't appear. And I think for me, when we reflect about democracy, about the values of democracy, about the ability or inability of democracy to deliver on that core responsibility of citizens' participation, what we are doing is to also ask the key question of utility. Why is democracy the most important alternative outside military? Because most of the structures that have endured in our country today were built by the military. And people are asking, what is it about democracy that the military is not giving us? And what is it about democracy that the civilian class will give us? Unfortunately, in the context of the current conversation on Nigeria, the question is also being asked, are we under a democracy or we are under civilian? Because we have seen instances where the military proved to be more democratic in some ways than even some of the civilian elites that were voted through the ballot box. And people are asking questions. And these questions are resonating so loudly and deeply in Burkina Faso today, in Niger today, in Mali today, and in Guinea, where people are saying it is better we have a benevolent dictator than to have a wicked democracy. when ECOWAS took the bold step of questioning why democracies in these countries will be truncated, the people of this country said, ECOWAS, you have no business in what affects us. We are talking about self-preservation. We are talking about the inability of democracy and the so-called Democrats to deliver to the greatest number of citizens the greatest number of happiness. And where democracy cannot deliver the greatest number of happiness to the greatest number of people, then it falls short of what should be called a democracy. And in that context, what it does is that it creates a credible opportunity for people who are able to take advantage of discontent to emerge. And that was what informed the emergence of the military in these countries. And the question for Nigeria is, where do we stand when it comes to the Nigerian story of democracy of over 2 decades? Yet, elections are increasingly being questioned. Questioned not because Nigerians do not value elections, but that there is no correlation between the process and the outcome. Most importantly, as we look at the inability of INEC to deliver on its own primary responsibility of conducting credible elections, or the politicization of the electoral process, and to a large extent, the militarization of this process, depending on who is in power and whose interest is being pursued. Lately, we have seen the emergence of what people call judicial mercenaries. That our temple of justice has become a gambling space where politicians have pegged a price for each of the justices. Which means our temple of justices across the country are no longer dispensing justice, but they have become gambling sites where those with high stakes in terms of the money they have been able to put in can predict with utmost certainty what the outcome of the election litigation will be. And the new phrase for us today is what? Let's meet in court. It is no longer that I have conceded defeat on the basis of the number of votes cast that I lost. But no, with the election, you are guaranteed victory in court because you are able to influence the judge and whoever will be appointed the judge. Now, that's the story of a Nigeria that is supposed to work for us all. And that is the story of what the director of BS was talking about, the intergenerational transfer of knowledge and expertise. Unfortunately, what we see today as the intergenerational transfer of expertise and skills that should work for this country has become a misnomer because the justices are now appointing their own children and giving them the handout on how to do what? Undertake judicial coups. So our fear today is not about military coups, but about coups by justices in courts. Where 5 million people vote and 3 people sit in the court to quash an election and decide the fate of these 5 million people, You can't call that democracy. It injures the very essence of Nigeria's affirmation to the fact that the Constitution itself that makes reference to we the people as an expression of the people's collective will to be sovereign over this country, to decide who governs them, becomes what? A jaundiced conversation. It's not a conversation that is productive. Because it's not working. In the midst of this crisis of democracy and the picture I've painted lies one of the most unfortunate, which is the unpredictable nature of our everyday lives in this country. Criminality, violent conflict, and the chairman captured that very well. Today, when you look at the north, from the northwest, armed by more than 4 security institutions. When you go to communities, people are contributing money for the operations of vigilantes rather than working with the police or the military to protect communities. We saw that with the emergence of the civilian joint task force in Bono, Adamawa, and Yobe. How do you demobilize these entities in the aftermath of insurgency and conflict? I was part of a team that was sent to Bono to go and kickstart the process of making civilian joint task force appreciate the fact that someday there will be no more after the insurgency. And in that meeting, one of the commanders of CJTF came in Hilux, his voice armed, and I was asking him, in a post-insurgency Borno state, where will you place yourself? He says, why are you asking me this question? I'm supposed to be a colonel in the army, because I work with them. So for him, a demobilization exercise should be one that does what? Transmutes him to what? To the military and the colonel. His business is not about the training to keep the colonels, but that he has voice that he's also able to command and they give results. That's his thinking. And I'm raising this because of the danger signs we see about the emergence of these non-state actors across our communities. In some of the communities, these entities detain people. They have cells. They are involved in what? Prosecution. They charge people. People pay money. Yet, when you discuss the Nigerian security architecture, they are not captured. They are not captured. Because the typical security architecture we should be talking about is the national defense. Army, Navy, Air Force, and within that structure, we have the Chief of Defense Staff that coordinates that group with the Ministry of Defense providing the policy direction. Within the national security structure, we have the Office of the National Security Advisor that coordinates all aspects of our security. We have the Police Council chaired by the President and all the governors. To our individual and collective humanity as we think through or work towards a Nigeria that should work for us all. And the key question is, if we are talking about a Nigeria that should work for us, what kind of Nigeria do we envisage? Is it a Nigeria where the national anthem we sing is still very useful? Some of us are a bit biased towards the military because we see them as the authentic understand what happened? But today, even governors, deputy governors, ministers will be breaking cola and national anthem. So you see an expression of a Nigeria that is not working in the same leaders who has oath to defend this country. And we see that every week. So they cannot even recite and you hand over a country to these characters. And we see them in parliament. The man cannot address himself, not to talk of addressing Nigerians, but he's making laws on our behalf. And then an army general is going before him to defend the budget of this country. And you say Nigeria cannot work. The vice chancellor of a university is going to defend the university's budget before chairman House Committee on Education, who is struggling with the diploma. And you want Professor Shugaba to talk about MRI, CT scan. While you be talking about the value of those machines, that character is not interested in and I'm raising this in the context of the crisis of social provision that we confront in a democracy that should work for us. That democracy can never work. Unfortunately, our police lecturers are the ones who give them this. We are the winners. You declare them elected on our behalf. When they leave, you declare them elected. Back to my point about what? Casualties. So if you want to reform our those times, where DSS were sent to our classrooms and people, lecturers were guided on how to speak. University is about what? The universality of knowledge. Universality of knowledge. And the key question I ask, to what extent is the knowledge you have liberating you first before liberating your community? Regardless of what you read. Don't say because I read medicine, I'm only interested in patients in the hospital. Then you are not educated. The first set of doctors were philosophers. Aristotle read what? Politics, biology. Go and check all the philosophers that read medicine in that period. They read politics. Some of them read law. They had knowledge. They were informed about society. And I always say, yeah, I become Minister of Education, I will move medical science to social sciences. And my argument is very simple. Doctors, you are dealing with human beings. Before they get sick, understand who they are. Don't wait until they come looking to come from that bed. Be part of that society. And that's where the world is today. That's what knowledge is doing in transforming education across the world. Give people military training. Reform the NYSC. Citizens are yet to understand this question of nationalism. And that's why the Japan syndrome is dealing with us. When you understand nationalism, even if the country is falling, you will be able to make it right. That was what other countries did. The places we are running to today pass through this phase we are passing, but there are people with sense of nationalism and patriotism. And for me, these are the building blocks of democracy. support community-based peace infrastructure, either those that are there to be strengthened or those that are not there to be built. Before now, community leaders, traditional leaders, and religious leaders were respected when they speak. But today they have become what? Politicized. They are the ones collecting the money to share with them. And then they will come to one and say, Government, you are in now. You are in now. Who can accomplish? The moment you take, you see part of the integrity. And your bargaining power does drops down. And that's what is happening to our traditional leaders today. They are product of processes that were not straight, either in terms of how they emerged or in terms of their own operations in those palaces that we see. The system cannot work. And that is why when these community leaders invite people, conflicting parties, for conflict resolution, the outcome of that meeting is always not what? Respected. Because they are not respected. Before now, we knew that traditional rulers had a final say. When they speak, the whole of society has spoken. But today when they speak, people begin to run analysis of where they stand. We don't trust them. It's not fair to us. We cannot talk about democracy without placing the gender question on the table. We've reduced our women to protesters. When the men leave or everything happens, then it's a matter of then we start protesting. Is it possible for the women to move away from being protesters to also being part of that process of the decision of captive brains defines the state of intellectuals within their community? These captive brains have become either victims or vectors of uncritical scholarship that has permeated in universities and other centers of learning with negative impact on knowledge production and dissemination, covering conceptualization, interpretation, and analysis of issues. A discourse on the linkages between democracy, governance, and security should be one that is anchored on a sound logic that places the intellectuals as the leading light in the search for a better society. This assumption should be the primary focus of the Institute of Security Studies, Federal University, Lafia, South State, Nigeria, if it seeks to avoid stepping on this slippery ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful presentation to the city. That was the guest lecturer, Chris A. Paja, PhD, MCPSP. Thank you very much, sir.
The little ones are all here, and it's a big pleasure to have hosted you for all these very important heads of the various segments of the university to hear what you have said. Like you said in your introduction, I wish the politicians were around. But I'm happy the military is around, they have heard. I hope it is also your tradition. When I go to represent my vision, any of us here, we usually write a report and tell them what is transferred. Please report Chris. There's nothing we can give you for this wonderful speech. But being a citadel of learning, I want you to go, I don't know which of the offices, or we keep it in my house in Jos. Well, this is from Federal University of Lafia, presented to Chris A. Kwaja, PhD, as guest lecturer on the inauguration of the Center for Security Studies, Federal University of Lafia. This 11th day of December 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor, and thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, sir, it was a very exciting to advise the chairman to make some remarks before we close the event. Mr. Chairman, sir.
The tradition of Nigerians as pushed by the movement, all protocols duly observed. Honestly, when I came to give an opening remark, it was as if I kept on asking what was going to be my role. And I came here empty. But I had to fall back on that residual and I was able to say something. But now, he has said it all. Can we please once more give the Professor Kwaja another round of applause? I'm not surprised that in building this foundation for the center, he talked the way he did. But I'm not also surprised because he's in the academy. A soldier will not be able to talk the way he did. Because he will be limited in so many ways as family. If I call him now, he has all the knowledge to this enormous balance, precarious balance. But I want to say that this has helped me. I took notes. I have reasons for taking notes. And I'm sure, even though all of you are so informed, but I'm sure you close sleeping gaps. Particularly that this lecture has told us to be bold, has also told us that we have civic responsibility to do certain things. And you also gave us the mind to say that we are part of that solution. First, we say security forces, what we call joint security operations. Then he came to the fact that whole of government responsibility, which he also enlightened us, and whole of society, that whole of society involves all of us. Even if we are stakeholders, we are well represented, but the whole society is also represented. On this note, I cannot add to what he said. All I want to say, and I cannot even summarize it, because I went out, but I wish I sat through the whole time we spent standing here. I want to say that, as he said in the last part of this thing, let what he said should be the foundation for to help build the Center for Security Study. We really take him seriously. I would also want to say that for those of us who are seated here, let us also spread this gospel. He has given us here. It is something that we have done just that in issue of security, which we don't know. This beautiful talk, and I want to declare. Yeah, can I declare the session closed? The other sections. Thank you, and God bless.
Senior deputy registrars, deputy registrars, deputy bosses, student representatives that are here. The governor was here, and left, and all heads of security agencies also here. At this point, I would like to invite the director of the center to give a vote of thanks. Professor.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, this role was actually supposed to be played by my deputy. Unfortunately, he's down. So I have to appear here again. I want to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency for finding time to be here, to share the moment of our public outing today on this all very important element of our society, security. I cannot thank the chairman enough for being here. The search for a chairman was very difficult for me, but somehow I found a way around it because I had a very good friend, Dr. Ahmed II, Prince, and I tasked him, and I said he's from Nasarawa State, and if he cannot get me a serving general or a retired general to be the chairman of this ceremony, then he has failed his responsibility to the state. And he told me that he wasn't going to promise me, but he would do whatever best he could. And then he came up with your name, and you accepted to be here. We cannot thank you enough for the honor of your presence. Dr. Ahmed, I pray that this our relationship will go further beyond here, so that you will continue to serve your state through the Center for Security Studies. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we cannot thank you enough for your support, for your resilience. You have quite a huge level of patience. You attend ceremonies and stay there to the very end. We are very grateful to you. Let me thank my immediate boss, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Partnership. A man who has also great resilience and is always available to provide leadership and support for all that we do. So I can't thank you enough. I can only assure you that I will continue to bother you as much, even beyond as I've always done. I thank the registrar immensely for his time, for his support, for being here, and for the center. I want to thank the heads of security agencies in the state. It's not always easy to get them to attend an occasion like this, all in their numbers. I think I'm an extremely very lucky man, and I want to thank you very much for your time to be here. I will mention the Director of State Services. He called me last night at about 11:30 p.m. and said he just arrived from Abuja because he wanted to be here by all means, and he was here. We are very grateful to you, sir. In absentia, we will continue our conversation on these issues. I want to thank all the deans and directors who are here in their numbers. Many of them are personal friends. Your presence made every difference that this ceremony would have meant. I can't thank you enough for your time. The university is writing exams and you are quite busy in every way, but you have made out time to be here in your numbers. I'm extremely very grateful. I want to thank my colleagues, the professors. They are also here in their numbers. Many of them called me personally to say they will make sure they will hear, and they are all here. Some of them have left their loved ones that they are nursing because they are going through difficult moments to be be here. I want to thank my colleague, Professor Neda Ogun, for sparing time to be here with them. I'm extremely excited that I saw him. Let me thank the head of departments who are here in their numbers. And in response to the inclusivity thing, Mr. Guest Lecturer, over time, those who present citations of guest lecturers will usually be a man like myself. But I insisted that the lady has to do that. And Dr. Chika, please, a round of applause for Dr. Chika for taking that. I thank all the deputy registrars that are here. A very close friend, Elibelo, and all other deputy registrars that are here. I want to thank you. I want to thank my classmate, Asti, who is also here. I thank all of you in your numbers for finding time to be here. The guest lecturer, I can't thank you enough. I was afraid we won't make it. I've never met you in person. I've read quite a lot of your works. I've used many of your ideas in many of the publications that I have in this field. But somehow, we have got a reason to see face to face. I want to thank Dr. Kuli Chukuma, who gave me the contact to you and made the suggestion that you were there and you will be available. I want to thank you for the immense expression of the deep knowledge of the field you have. Let me thank our students who were here, even though they are writing their exams, many of them stepped in here to be part of this. It used to be, this is the way the university used to be. Back then in the news area, this hall would have been filled to pass. I understand the exams are going on and all of that, but I think the attendance here gives me extreme pleasure, and I'm quite delighted that all of you have honored us with your presence. I want to thank all of you immensely, and I ask that as you leave this hall, may the Lord bless you, and may all your activities for the rest of the day be successful, and we look forward to engaging with you anytime we have an activity here. Let me thank the Dean of Postgraduate School in a very special way. So I'm grateful for your advice and for everything. The center will always be there to continue to engage with you. Thank each and every one of you for finding time to be here, and we wish you a very wonderful day.
Thank you very much. After we close program, we have group photograph observations without entrance at this building. I would like to request our feet to take it to Lafia and 10 speed places again.